Hi, my name is Pete Niergaard. I work for Websphere Education. I want to introduce you to a session I'll be giving at the Impact 2011 conference. The session is a double lab session called Websphere Application Server v7 Security, a collection of labs. So this session, you'll get to choose from a total of 7 different labs that are part of a class, a course that we created called WU611. And you'll get to do these labs in any order that you want. You should have enough time to do a number of them. So the rest of this video here goes through a list of the labs and what you end up doing in them. So I hope you enjoy.
So, as I previously mentioned, this particular lab session allows you to choose from 7 different labs. You get to choose which of these 7 you run and which order. You should have enough time for 2 or 3, possibly 4. This is a double lab session, so there should be plenty of time to get a number of them done. So let's go through each of them individually and see what might be of interest to you. The first lab is called Configuring Federated Repositories. Here you start in a federated cell with a registry that is using only a file-based registry. And then you add to that federated repository an LDAP server. You then configure the communications to the LDAP server to use SSL. And finally, you configure the federated repository to be fully functional even if all its members are not currently available. The second lab is called Working with Security Domains. Here you define multiple security domains which allow you to define security attributes that essentially override the global cell level security attributes. In our case, we're going to define an alternate user registry, so one portion of the cell will use a different registry than the rest of the cell. We'll also enable application security, go through the process of testing and validating the settings that we've made, and also look at the other attributes that you can set on security domains. The third lab is called Finegrained Administrative Security. Here you get to use the functionality that allows you to define that only certain users, certain administrative users, have specific rights to certain portions of your cell. So for example, you could have a particular administrator be only able to administer one particular app server. Fourth lab looks at SSL within the application server. It starts off by looking at things like the trust stores and the key stores and the node certificates, the root certificates, things like that. Also it goes through the mappings of how the configurations and the endpoints relate to the key stores and trust stores and how those relationships work. One of the things that you need to do is manage the certificates and when they expire. So we go through the security report to list all the expiration dates. We look at the expiration notification process, how to configure it to report things, and how to look at when things are being expired. Next, we look at renewing manually and replacing manually certificates. Finally, we look at how the web server plugin uses its key stores and how those get propagated. This next lab, Lab 5, configuring SSL to the database via JDBC, is kind of neat. It goes through the process of securing the communications between Websphere and a DB2 process, and it uses SSL to secure that link. Traditionally, this may have been done through VPNs or a dedicated link, but now you can set the configuration there to support SSL, and this lab goes through that process. Lab 6, Crosssell authentication, goes through the process of sharing LTPA tokens between 2 cells and various other steps as well. And this allows you to have cross-cell authentication between 2 cells. So the key component there is making sure that the LTPA tokens are usable in both environments, so those need to be shared. So we go through the process of exporting the LTPA keys from one cell and importing them into another and configuring everything else that needs to be done. Lab 7, Security Infrastructure Hardening, takes Kees Bootsem's infrastructure hardening presentation, if you're familiar with it. And it takes a number, about 10 if I recall, suggestions that he makes for security hardening and implements them on our test environment. And you can see a list here of some of the things that we do, like automatically regenning the LTPA keys, or enabling HTTP only for cookies, or securing the DCS link, forcing SSL to be used for the CSIV2 communications, those sorts of things. So you actually get to do the hands-on that's associated with his talk. All of these labs come from an existing Websphere Education course called Websphere Application Server V7 Security. And the course code is W611. It's 3 days long, and you can see a URL there where you can get more information about the abstract and information about scheduling. Here's a quick list of other security sessions being held at Impact, just in case you're interested in the general subject of security. If you have any questions about this course or others, you can check out the Websphere Education booth in the Solution Center. Here's a map for a quick reference for you. The booth is pretty much in the middle of the Solution Center. And finally, if you're interested in taking any of the certification tests, for instance, the Websphere Administration test, they're available, many of them for free at Impact. You can find them at the Certification Test Center up on the 3rd level.